I have a habit when I sleep. I practically have to mount my giant body pillow plushie, wrapping my legs tightly around it to fall asleep. But one night out of nowhere, I heard the inner thoughts of the hottest guy I've been crushing on. Fuck, don't squeeze so tight. Christ, I can barely breathe. I was so freaked out I accidentally gave the pillow a hard kick. Immediately, a dark, raspy, muffled grunt vibrated right against my ear. I stared down at the plush sleeping doll in my hand, seriously doubting my own fucking sanity. Must be hallucinating. Why the hell would I hear Silas Sterling's voice? Was I crushing on him so hard that I was developing psychotic delusions? Creepy. No. I need to test this shit out. The plushie was a giant 5-foot-long fluffy cat. It was squishy, insanely soft, and just got delivered to my dorm 2 days ago. I absolutely loved how soft it felt. It was incredibly addictive to grope. But right then I showed no mercy. I made a fist and punched the plushie right in its squishy stomach. A split second later, Silas Sterling FaceTimed me. No warning, just his caller ID flashing on my screen. My eyes practically bulged out of my skull. It was 2 a.m. Why the fuck is he fast timing me? I only had his iMessage because of a random group project ages ago. But he had been sitting in my contacts collecting dust ever since. Shocked and highly suspicious, I hit accept. The screen lit up to reveal Silas's unfairly flawless, drop-dead gorgeous face. When I first transferred to Brampton University, I fell for him at first sight. Let's be real. I wanted to ride him just based on that face. The guy was Brampton's notorious ice prince, untouchable. You could look, but you definitely couldn't touch. So I had to settle for a pathetic secret crush. I swallowed hard and asked the dumbest question possible. Is this Silas? Silas's eyes were red-rimmed, entirely missing their usual frosty glare. He looked flushed, almost like someone had just thoroughly bullied him into submission. His voice sounded weird as hell too. It was hoarse, tight, and holding back what sounded like raw physical pain. He grunted. What are you doing? It is the middle of the fucking night. What else would I be doing? Sleeping? Obviously, I lied, keeping my face deadpan. Silas's jaw clenched tight. Looks like he wanted to say something, but silence fell between us. That was when it happened again. His lips didn't move an inch on the screen, but his voice echoed loud and clear directly into my mind. I can't let Clobier know. I am physically connected to her fucking plushie. If she finds out, she'll definitely stop wrapping those gorgeous legs around me at night. Me. It took exactly 3 seconds for my brain to process this earth-shattering information. Silas Sterling was sharing sensory feedback with my giant stuffed cat, and I could hear his dirty little mind. Silas took a deep, jagged breath. His chest was heaving. Your body pillow is really cute. Maybe you shouldn't punch it so fucking hard it might get hurt. My fist was still buried deep in the plushie's belly, keeping the fabric completely caved in. I guess that must really ache, huh? Feeling a tiny bit guilty, I slowly pulled my hand back and began to gently, seductively stroke the cat's soft head. On the screen, a dark, heavy flush crept up Silas's neck and stained his cheeks. Holy shit, the ice prince was actually blushing. I dragged my fingernails slowly down the plushie's body, tracing a line all the way to its tail. Silas's expression instantly worked. He looked like he was desperately trying to hold in a moan. The veins on his forehead visibly throbbed. Playing dumb, I asked, "Are you okay? You look like you are in pain." Silas curled his hands into tight fists. "I am fine. Just a mosquito bit me." He said it with a totally straight face, but his thoughts told a completely different, wildly erotic story. Fuck, Clobier is touching me. God, it feels so good. I love it when she strokes me like that. Don't stop. Touch me more. Love it. I stared at him in pure shock. Who would have thought that the cold, arrogant campus god was actually a massive, actually frustrated simp behind closed doors? But what the hell was I supposed to do now? He was so fucking cute. I think I just fell for him even harder. A wicked sweet smile spread across my lips. I let my fingertips lightly graze the plushie's soft yielding body. Don't worry, I purred softly into the phone. I really love this plushie. I'm going to take real good care of it. Now that I knew Silas was physically feeling everything I did to that doll, there was no way in hell I was throwing it out. I continued to sleep with it shoved tightly between my thighs. It was a habit I'd had since childhood. Without something between my legs to hug, I simply couldn't sleep. The next morning, I woke up incredibly refreshed. Lexi, my obnoxious but loyal roommate, practically dragged me out the door toward the campus food court. "Hurry up, Chloe. If we're any later, the fresh breakfast sandwiches will be gone." The moment I stepped onto the path lead into the dining hall, a familiar deep voice vibrated in my head. When the fuck can I just openly call her my baby? I want to eat breakfast with her so bad. I stopped dead in my tracks. I scanned the courtyard until my eyes locked onto a tall, commanding figure standing by the corner. It was Silas, radiating his usual freezing, "Don't talk to me," aura. Sensing my gaze, his eyes darkened slightly. He gave me a stiff, painfully distant nod. My heart started racing. Lord, have mercy. How is he such a good actor? In public, he is the untouchable academic god. Private, he is a whiny, dependent golden retriever begging for my touch. The contrast was fucking intoxicating. I suppressed my pounding heart, forced myself to look away after one brief glance, and hurriedly walked off with Lexi. Instantly, his pathetic, dramatic inner whining filled my head. She left. Fuck. She really won't give me a second glance. Fuck that I am eating with my girl today. I couldn't help the wicked smirk that crept onto my face. Why are we eating at the main food court today? A loud frat bro voice boomed nearby. Then that sexy, deep baritone replied chillingly. The air is better here. We could grab a window seat then. Excuse me, is anyone sitting here? I slowly looked up from my tray across the table. Lexi was practically having a stroke, violently wiggling her eyebrows at me. She knew I had a massive thing for Silas. Thrilled by the chance to set me up with the campus god, Lexi answered faster than I could open my mouth. No. Sit right next to Chloe. Silas looked down at me, his eyes full of fake light. Inquiry. Do you mind? Chloe. Wow, so formal. I wonder who is panting and calling me his Chloe bear. Hundreds of times last night, while trapped under my thigh, gasping at whining, it groaning. It was hot. As fuck. I mirrored his cold energy, gave a stiff nod, and hummed a flat sure. Right on cue, his devastated inner voice wailed. Why is she acting so cold to me? Did I do something wrong? Is my outfit shit? Silas and his roommate Brody set their trays down. Silas's mood visibly plummeted. His cold aura turned into actual daggers shooting in every direction. Brody, sensing his buddy's murderous mood, took a bite of his bagel. What is up with you, bro? You sick or something? Before Silas could tell him to shut the fuck up, Brody sold him out. I told you, man. You can't be taking 6 freezing cold showers a night. I don't care how athletic you are. Your body can't handle that kind of abuse. She gasped, her eyes wide. Brody shrugged. He is a massive neat freak. A neat freak, huh? I blinked, keeping my face the picture of innocence. Silas shot me a desperate heavy look. God, she looks so fucking cute when she smiles. I am not a neat freak. Brody is just a fucking idiot. If my girl wasn't grinding her gorgeous body against me all night, I wouldn't have had to take 6 cold showers to freeze my heart on. This is absolute excruciating torture. But I love it. 6 times. A raging heart on my core tightened. I shot him another quick glance through my lashes. Fuck yes. She looked at me again. Coming here was the best decision I ever made. Please let her look at me tomorrow too. For the next few days, I magically ran into Silas in the dining hall every single day. During the day, we were nothing more than distant classmates sharing a table. But at night, we were practically sleeping together in the most twisted, cyber-sensory way possible. I wasn't entirely sure how the telepathy and sensory link worked, but Silas was rapidly infiltrating every corner of my life. And it planted some dirty, forbidden ideas in my head. Maybe I could push the envelope a bit further. Every night, I fell asleep listening to his inner monologue. Sometimes the sudden, low groans he let out when I shifted my legs would make my whole face burn red. The high and mighty Ice Prince was a total degenerate in bed. It was so hot. I took a bite of my sandwich peeking at Silas sitting across from me. His flawlessly sculpted face was flushed with a healthy glow. The corners of his mouth were actually curled upward. He didn't look cold at all. He looked like he was basking in the afterglow. As we sat there, the sexual tension between us was thick enough to cut with a knife. Neither of us said a word, just letting the heavy, unspoken lust hang in the air. Are these seats taken? A slender, gorgeous girl with an incredibly smug face walked over with her tray. Silas's face instantly went back to ice. Yes. The girl looked around and laughed. By who? They're coming. Silas furrowed his brows, looking thoroughly pissed off. The girl tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, her smile sugary and fake. Well, they aren't here right now, so I'll just sit, Silas. It has been so long. Silas completely ignored her. Instead, using his chopsticks, he picked up a piece of shrimp and placed it directly onto my plate. Try this. My lips curved into a smirk. The annoyance I felt from the interruption vanished instantly. Simone Kensington didn't even flinch at being ignored. She was used to being an entitled brat. It is fine if you ignore me, Silas. Your grandpa is having us over for dinner tonight anyway. You're coming, right? She shot me a highly venomous, triumphant glare. Silas still didn't give her the time of day, continuing to feed me pieces of meat. Savannah looked like she was about to crack her own teeth from grinding them so hard. After lunch, Savannah decided to corner me near the exit. Our families are old money. We literally run this city. Silas and I are getting married. It is arranged. My good mood shattered. I let out a cold laugh, my tone dripping with absolute disregard. And, am I supposed to give a fuck? Savannah sneered. He is just fucking around with you. When it comes time to put a ring on it, it is gonna be me. Oh, what a coincidence, I deadpan. Oh, what a coincidence, I deadpanned, stepping right into Savannah's personal space. I was an inch taller than her, and I used it to my full advantage. Because Silas's grandfather isn't the one sleeping in my bed tonight. Silas is. Savannah's manicured jaw dropped, her perfect, smug mask slipping to reveal pure, unfiltered horror. Before she could screech a reply, a familiar, deep voice echoed in my head, frantic and violently protective. I swear to God, if that plastic Barbie says one wrong word to my clothier, I am liquidating the Kensington family's assets by midnight. I'm going to ruin them. She's mine. Mine. I had to bite the inside of my cheek to stop myself from laughing out loud. The great, untouchable Silas Sterling, heir to a billion-dollar empire, was currently plotting corporate warfare just because a girl annoyed me in the cafeteria line. Have fun at dinner, Savannah, I purred, giving her a patronizing pat on the shoulder. Make sure you chew your food. I turned on my heel and strutted out of the dining hall, Lexi trailing behind me like a hyperactive puppy. Holy shit, Chloe. Did you just claim Silas Sterling? Did you just basically tell Savannah Kensington you're banging the Ice Prince? Something like that, I hummed, practically floating back to our dorm. That night, however, I decided it was time to teach my secret, telepathic simple lesson. He wanted to go to an arranged marriage dinner with Savannah? Fine. But he was going to suffer for it. Around 7 p.m., I knew the Sterling Kensington dinner was starting. I locked my bedroom door, turned on my dim LED strip lights, and pulled the giant, 5-foot fluffy cat onto my bed. All right, Sterling, I whispered to the empty room. Let's see how much self-control you really have. I kicked off my sweatpants, wearing nothing but a tiny silk camisole and a pair of lace underwear. I straddled the giant plushie, trapping its soft middle right between my thighs. Instantly, the fabric seemed to warm up against my skin. A sharp, audible gasp ripped through my mind. Fuck. No. No, no, no. Not now. I'm pouring the wine. Don't drop the bottle. Sterling. Keep it together. I grinned wickedly. I leaned down, dragging my nails slowly up the length of the plushie's stomach, right up to where its collarbone would be. Then, I slowly shifted my hips, grinding down against the thick, plush material. Christ. Silas's inner voice practically roared in my skull. I'm going to pass out. I'm going to physically pass out into the caviar. God, Clovier, please. What is she doing? She's moving so fuck. Silas, dear. A faint, muffled voice, presumably his grandfather or Savannah, filtered through the telepathic link. Are you alright? You're sweating through your suit. I'm fine. Silas's voice snapped, both in real life and in my head. But his internal monologue was a chaotic, desperate mess. I'm not fine. I'm rock hard at a Michelin star restaurant, and I want to rip my skin off. I need her. I need my hands on her. Deciding to show zero mercy, I leaned down and pressed my lips against the plushie's ear. I took the soft fabric between my teeth and gave it a gentle, sharp bite, letting out a soft, breathy moan of my own. A loud crash echoed through the telepathic link. Silas. Your glass. Savannah's voice shrieked faintly. I can't do this, Silas's mind panted. I'm leaving. I don't care if I get disowned. I am going to her dorm right fucking now. Excuse me. I heard his deep, raspy voice say through the link, sounding dangerously tight. Family emergency. I have to go. I burst out laughing, rolling off the plushie and staring at the ceiling. I had literally broken the Ice Prince. Less than 20 minutes later, a frantic pounding shook my dorm room door. Lexi was out at a frat party, so the suite was totally empty. I lazily threw on a massive, oversized hoodie that swallowed me whole, padding out to the living area. I swung the door open. Silas stood there, looking like a devastatingly handsome hurricane. He was in a bespoke Tom Ford suit, but the jacket was halfway off his shoulders. His expensive silk tie was yanked loose, his collar unbuttoned, and his hair, usually perfectly styled, was wild, as if he'd been running his hands through it the entire drive over. His chest was heaving. He stared down at me, his eyes dark, dilated, and completely feral. Hey, I said innocently, leaning against the doorframe. Aren't you supposed to be at dinner with your future wife? Silas stepped into the room, kicking the door shut behind him with a loud thud. He didn't stop moving until he backed me right up against the wall. The scent of him, cedarwood, expensive cologne, and pure male aggression, wrapped around me completely. He planted both hands on the wall beside my head, trapping me. "Don't ever say that," he growled, his voice a low, vibrating octave that sent electricity straight to my core. "Don't ever put me and her in the same sentence again." "Why not?" I tilted my chin up, refusing to back down. "Because you're mine," his mind screamed. "Because I've been obsessed with you since the day you walked into macroeconomics. Because I would burn this whole city down just to watch you smile. Because," Silas said aloud, swallowing hard, his eyes dropping to my lips. "I only want you. Are you sure about that?" I whispered, reaching up and tracing my index finger down his chest, right over his racing heart. "Or, do you just want my giant cat plushie?" Silas froze. Every muscle in his massive body locked up. The color drained from his face, replaced rapidly by a violent, deep crimson blush. "She knows. Oh my God, she knows. She's known the whole time. The plushie. The punching. The grinding. She was doing it on purpose." "You're quite loud, Silas," I laughed softly, tapping the side of his head. "In here." It took me a second to figure it out, but yeah, I hear everything. Especially when you're whining like a needy golden retriever. Silas looked like he wanted the floor to swallow him whole. The untouchable, ruthless campus god was currently trembling like a leaf. You heard me. Everything." "Yep. All the dirty thoughts. The 6 cold showers a night. The jealousy over a literal stuffed animal." I leaned closer, my breath grazing his jaw. "It was cute." Silas let out a jagged exhale. The embarrassment suddenly melted away, replaced by something much darker and far more dangerous. The Ice Prince, demeanor shattered completely, leaving behind the primal, touch-starved man who had been at my mercy for days. "If you knew," he murmured, stepping right into my space, "so our bodies were flush." "Then why did you do that to me tonight? While I was at dinner?" "I was jealous," I admitted, shrugging slightly. "I didn't like Savannah acting like she owned you." "She doesn't," Silas said instantly. He brought his hands up, gently cupping my face. His thumbs traced my cheekbones. "No one does. Except you. Throw the fucking cat out, Clovier. Please. I can't share you with a stuffed animal anymore. Let me replace it." My heart hammered against my ribs. "You want to be my body pillow?" "I want to be your everything," he stated, zero hesitation in his voice. "I want to be buried so deep inside her she forgets her own name," his inner voice echoed simultaneously. I shivered. "Deal." Silas didn't need another invitation. He crashed his lips down onto mine. It was explosive. There was nothing cold or distant about him. He kissed me like a starving man who had finally found water. His hands gripped my waist, lifting me effortlessly. I wrapped my legs around his waist, just like I did with the plushie, and a low, guttural groan ripped from his throat. "God, finally. Finally. She's so soft. She tastes like cherry chapstick and sugar." He carried me into my bedroom, tossing me onto the mattress. The giant stuffed cat was in the way. Without breaking the kiss, Silas grabbed the 5-foot plushie by the scruff of its neck and unceremoniously yeeted it across the room. It bounced sadly off the closet door. "Hey, be gentle with him," I gasped against Silas's lips. "He's the only reason we're here." "He's done his job," Silas growled, hovering over me, pinning my wrists above my head. "He's retired. It's my turn." That night, I didn't need the telepathic link to know exactly what Silas was feeling. I felt every shudder, every gasp, and every possessive grip of his hands. He worshipped me. He spent hours making up for every single night he had been trapped in the mind of a stuffed toy, learning my body with a terrifying, addictive precision. By the time the sun started to peek through the blinds, I was wrapped in his arms, my leg thrown heavily over his hip, completely exhausted. "She looks like an angel," his mind whispered softly, lulling me to sleep. My angel. The next Monday, the Brampton University dining hall was packed. Lexi and I were sitting at our usual table near the window. Savannah Kensington was holding court a few tables over, loudly complaining to her minions about how Silas had rudely left her family dinner due to a business emergency, but assuring them that the wedding planning was still moving forward. I just stirred my iced coffee, thoroughly amused. Suddenly, the dining hall went dead quiet. I didn't even have to look up. The drop in temperature and the collective holding of breath told me everything I needed to know. Silas walked in. He looked immaculate in a black turtleneck and an expensive trench coat. He exuded that freezing, untouchable aura that kept everyone 10 feet away. Savannah immediately stood up, fluffing her hair, a sickly sweet smile plastering her face. "Silas," she called out, stepping into the aisle to intercept him. "I saved you a seat." Silas didn't even look at her. He didn't break his stride. He walked right past her extended hand as if she were a ghost, his eyes locked dead onto our table. Savannah stood frozen in the aisle, looking like she'd just been slapped. Silas reached my table. He didn't ask to sit down. Instead, He placed a perfectly boxed, warm chocolate croissant down in front of me. Then, in front of God, Savannah Kensington, and the entire student body, the Ice Prince leaned down, cupped the back of my neck, and kissed me. It wasn't a quick peck. It was a slow, deliberate, claiming kiss that made my toes curl. Gasps echoed across the cafeteria. Lexi actually dropped her fork onto her plate with a loud clatter. When Silas finally pulled back, he rested his forehead against mine, a genuine, blindingly beautiful smile breaking through his usual frosty exterior. "Morning, Clobier," he said, his voice loud enough to carry. "Morning, Sterling," I whispered back. "Tell me I did good," his inner voice pleaded, sounding like a puppy waiting for a treat.
"Tell me you loved that."
I smirked, reaching up to adjust his collar. "You did very good." Savannah let out a mortified, choked noise and practically ran out of the dining hall, her minions scrambling after her. The room erupted into fierce whispering, but Silas just ignored them all, sliding into the booth next to me and pulling me flush against his side. Later that week, I returned to my dorm to find Lexi staring in utter confusion at the living room corner. "Hey, Chloe," Lexi asked, pointing. "Why is your giant 5-foot cat stuffed animal currently sitting inside a glass display case with a velvet rope around it?" I looked over. Silas had indeed bought a custom, museum-grade glass case for the plushie. It sat there majestically, preserved for eternity. I smiled, feeling a familiar, warm vibration in my mind as Silas's black Porsche pulled into the dorm parking lot outside. "Don't worry about it, Lexi," I laughed, grabbing my bag to head downstairs to my real-life boyfriend. "He's just a retired war hero."